Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the XM551 Sheridan. It's a tier 10 American light tank. It's located on the north spawn of Overlord, and this one is under the command of the Bassman from Hell. And, well, he's actually in platoon with somebody I haven't seen before, WP Medved.
This is just another opportunity to
Okay. Now he's obviously got Chuck Norris as his commander, and he's actually using the Sheridan with the 105mm gun, not with the 152mm howitzer, which actually produces a much bigger output damage, 910 from that one, but the 105 will do 390 alpha and will penetrate 236mm of armors with APCR as its main armament or its main round. The heat round is the subsidiary round. First shot hits the UDES and he gets a high roll for 410. Now it does have a kind of long reload time. The standard reload by the book is 8.82 seconds, but you can see here he's got 8.26.
moving to support you.
Now the XM Sheridan was a replacement for the M41. Originally they were going to use either the T71 or the T92, both of which are in the game, but in the end they actually didn't like either of those solutions and decided to go with the Sheridan instead because that was in development. You can see Bassman's trying to tell his teammates to hit that UDES because he's crossing the bowl and he could be a danger to our guys on the other side. Okay, he's going to go after the Gorilla 15 instead because he can do large amounts of damage to a Gorilla because of course he has got no armor whatsoever. Not really, just the hull, the crew all outside, and that makes them very vulnerable. Now he's a light tank, so of course he's got light tank camo, but the Gorilla must know that there's somebody here because obviously you can see the trees going down. You just can't see where Bassman is. And that's a nice shot, 402, a high roll, and the kill shot went in from the TVP T5051. So it's a good game so far. Oh, he took an AMX 13 105mm round there, and the guy's on the corner, and that's the worst place that you want somebody because from that spot they can do a lot of damage. And he did the spotting on that 13 105 and he has gone down. The Object 261 got the kill shot. Okay. Well, they designed the Sheridan in 1959 to 1965, and they started building them in 1966 to 1970, and they were in service from 69 until 1997. So they were only recently taken out of service, and there were some of them used for training purposes to act as the opposite number, the Russian tanks, or whenever they went on maneuvers. Well, he blind fired that one in, but it looks like the UDES fired back, so I suspect that he did actually make contact with that UDES. Now, it actually had an aluminum hull and also a rolled homogeneous steel turret. So it was a mixture of metals, and the hull wasn't very good in terms of stopping the enemy shells. Very thin hull as well. The front of the hull only had 14.3mm, sides was 31.8, and the rear 12.7. So really the hulls are only protection against light shells and small arms fire, not against the heavy tank round. Okay, M5Y. He's aiming for the turret, but of course I'm not so sure he'll do a huge amount of damage even if he fired the heat round, so he's decided to pull back for the moment and just spot that guy. Now, if that guy tries to engage the Hesh farm, who's just alongside us, we could run alongside and ambush him. Nope, no shot. So he's baiting him in a sense, trying to pick the right moment to actually go over there and do what he did to the Gorilla. Pumps one into the hull, gets a 329 hit point hit, and the Heshbon unloaded. Didn't get a hell of a lot of damage, but there you go. Oh! It hit the tracks. But it looks like we might get another chance. Oh, bit of lag there. Massive bit of lag. Sorry, I'm going to run that one back because that shouldn't have happened. I don't know why. We're getting a lot of lag tonight. And, well, let's see that replay again. The Heshpan fires this round in. Okay, pumps one in, hits the tracks on the M5Y. Pulls forward. And yes, he goes down to our Udas. Okay. Well, it was a 4-man crew, and the actual XM551s actually used 152mm gun as their main armor. It was a howitzer, actually. And they, until the Shillelagh missiles was ready, they were actually using conventional 152mm rounds, and they were also using heat rounds as well. The shape charge rounds actually had a really good effect. They were a bit low velocity, these rounds. They weren't quite as fast as normal tank rounds, but they did have a good effect upon the enemy targets, especially if they were light vehicles. Now, he's got his rear end poking out there, which means if somebody came around the corner, they'd see him. But he pumps around into the Wizzy 111 Model 5A, and look, that missed the shot. He missed it. Fires another one in. Oh, he got another hit. That's good. 402 from that one. In fact, between them, him and somebody else, I think it may have been the Heshpan who got the other shot in, and he got a big amount of damage. Now, this little tank is actually bigger than the other tank it replaced, which was the T49 in the tech tree. And the T49 has a 90mm gun, but the 105mm that he's using here, much more effective. And look at that, he's getting lovely, accurate shots. Normally, with the 152, you have to get really close to get an accurate shot on the enemy. With the 105mm, you're a lot more accurate, and therefore you rack up much more damage. Okay, can you get shots on these guys? Hello. Yes. Those heat rounds are very effective indeed. Now, this little tank actually was used in Vietnam. It was also used in Panama and also in Gulf War One.
Thanks a lot.
The E4 like that one.
Let me try my fist.
The funny thing is that some of the members of What Arty Noobs actually did serve in these tanks. Well, I say funny, but it's not funny because it means that if I get something wrong, they're going to criticize me because they actually did use these vehicles and they know exactly what it was like. Oh, that was close. He almost flipped himself going over that wreck. Oh, and that was a kill there for the Object 2661 who managed to get a kill shot on the 2684. But sadly, we took him around from the 430U who was waiting for us. And he's on the chime, but there's only 4 enemies left. The 2 Arty, and of course these 2 guys, the 430 and the Heshpan. Oh! Well, we know where one of the Arty is. He's on the beach. The 155-58 is on the beach. We pump run into the 430. He goes down. Both Arty are on the beach. There you go. Just wait for the reload and we'll take them out. 261 first. High roll, 402. He's going to try and get the 155-58. He's gone. Goes for the 161. He gets the kill. And that's it. That's the end of the game. Great result there for the Bassman from Hell. Here's the end of battle results, and that was an ace tanker game from the Bassman from Hell in the Sheridan. He managed to get a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, 5 for effect for doing more damage than hit points for his own vehicle, Bruiser for getting at least 5 critical hits, in fact he got 6 in that one, and he also picked up a tank sniper for doing the most damage at 300 meters or more, as well as a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team, and finally he got a patrol duty, being the only one spotting 6 enemy tanks whilst they were damaged. So let's have a look at his win rate, 6,505 super unicum and a bit more. So let's have a look at team scores and see where he was. Well, funnily enough, he did get the highest damage in that game. He didn't get a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. but he got 5,011 hit points of damage out of the game. The next highest scorer, well, that's the baseman. Next highest scorer being the E4, who got 3,521. And the third highest damage in the game turned out to be the Object 2684 on our own team with 3,088, just pipping the Object 430U on the enemy team, who got 3,080. He was their highest scorer. When it came to kills, the top was 3 kills for the E4 and the TVP T5051. They both got 3 kills apiece. Two kills went to the Object 261s. Both of them managed to get that. And also the UDIS 1516 on our own team. And 2 players on the enemy team. Their Batchat 15558 and their 113BO. And, well, we can see that's the Beijing Opera, by the way. Just in case you wonder what the BO, it's not they don't wash or anything like that. It's the Beijing Opera version. Okay, and Baseman only got 1 kill out of that game, unfortunately. But at least it was the last one. It was the Object 261 on the enemy team. And that was the one that closed the game. When it came to base XP, yes, the baseman comes out on top because he did a lot of spotting in that game as well. 1,239 base experience points went to the baseman, 939 went to the Object 261, and 888 went to the E4 on our team. Baseman fired 18 rounds in the game, got 17 direct hits on the enemy and 14 penetrations, 5,011 hit points, and that was with the 105mm gun, not with the 152mm gun, which is the actual gun that the 551 actually did have in the end, the Sheridan had in the end. But of course, the stock gun is, or was actually produced for this vehicle. It was one of a couple of guns that they actually tried as an option instead of the 152mm, but they didn't go with them. They actually, instead, they went with the standard 152. He actually did damage of 2,406 hit points at a distance of 300 meters or more. So a lot of damage, almost half his damage was done at long range. And remember, this tank doesn't have the greatest accuracy per shot. Even the stock 105 is not as accurate as most tier 10 tanks. And in fact, actually, the 152 is even less accurate, which made it a good decision to actually have the 105 on this occasion. He also received 2 hits from the enemy, both penetrated. As I said, the armor is absolutely diabolical. In fact, this tank was very vulnerable to being hit by RPGs because, of course, they had shaped charges and they could punch through that aluminum hull fairly easy. I have to remember to say aluminum because it's an American tank. And he also received 1 hit by way of splash damage from the enemy Arty, who was trying to take him out of the game. 3 enemy vehicles spotted, 8 enemy vehicles damaged, 1 killed, and 4,666 hit points of spotting assistance. So that's where he earned most of his XP in the game. He earned 81,981 credits for the battle on a premium count, 40,991 from personal reserves, 122,972 credits altogether, and after repair and ammunition resupply, even though he fired a fair number of heat rounds in the game, he still came out on top with 42,909 credits profit. He got 7 bonds because it was a tier 10 game, and 1,858 XP for the battle, times 2 for the first victory, and 1,858 from personal reserves, took away 5,575 experience points altogether. So that was a very good game in the Sheridan. Let's have a quick look at the armor on this vehicle. Yes, it doesn't have any. Well, I did say it's a rolled homogeneous steel turret, which actually does have some protection because the turret actually has real strong armor at the front. You can see there it's 55, actually, sorry, if I go to that, shows that again. 50.8 millimeters of armor, but only along that area there of the tank. On the mantlet, it's 19.1, but it does have spaced armor, and the spaced armor does protect the crew a certain amount from heat rounds. And of course, they needed that because, of course, the RPG were shaped charges as well. And of course, they could put grids up to actually stop the shells from actually hitting the front of the vehicle. In fact, they did put a screen, as you could see during the battle. There's a screen across the front of the vehicle which actually can be pushed down, and that stops rounds from actually making contact with the hull and prevents them from actually doing the nasty penetrating shot. So you can see the tank commander's got this big cupola on the back with huge vision ports, and there's the driver, and it does have fairly good, as you can see, fairly good gun depression. It's 10 degrees of gun depression on this thing, and it has 420 meters view range. It's one of the longest view range for light tanks at tier 10. But as you can see, the armor at the front of the vehicle, well, there you can see the space armor, 3mm each, but quite a few of them. And the effective armor, because of all of that and the angling, means it goes up as high as 335. But here you see at this point, I think that's because of the tracks actually there. But with the spaced armor here, it's only 40.6 or thereabouts. And that's from 14.3mm and another 3mm from the shield. So yes, you're not getting much in the way of protection. If you go around to the sides, you can see it's spaced armor again, 3mm plus the 11.1 of the hull. So you're getting 22. At the rear of the vehicle, it's 12.7mm with 3mm from the spacing. So yes, you're not getting much protection on this vehicle. And really, you're relying on your speed to get out of the way, because it does have good top speed, 65 kilometers an hour. You can drive your way out of the sight of the enemy fairly quickly. And of course, you can see the lower plate here. It's only 23.8mm, but you're actually getting an effective armor of about 70, so because it's angled. But the rest of the vehicle, well, not really. You're not getting much protection. And so it is very vulnerable if it receives an anti-tank round or an armor-piercing round, because it's just going to carve its way straight through. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the live version. Yes, it's it's very porous, this tank. Yes, it can be turned into Swiss cheese very quickly with the wrong round. And of course, it was very vulnerable to mines as well, because it didn't have much in the way of armor on the actual hull. That aluminum hull really, although it makes the thing very quick, the mines will make a mess of this tank. And because it was lightweight, it could actually be carried in aircraft and airdropped into action. Okay, let's have a quick look at the modules. If the modules will come up, there we go. Okay, great. And you can see the driver's sitting up front. He's got two ammo racks right either side of him. Not very nice, but I suppose that's the only place they could put them, because you can see here that you've got the loader right next door to the gun on the right-hand side. The gunner's on the left-hand side. TC's sitting directly behind him. He's got the radio, but the loader's got to take the rounds out of the ready rack here, and in fact, actually, some of them are missiles. Of course, this vehicle does carry 9 Shillelagh missiles and 20 rounds if it's in the 152mm configuration. And therefore, he's got to take those missiles out and put them down the tube and connect them up. And of course, you can see at the rear, the engine sandwiched between the fuel tanks. And, well, the fuel tanks are all around the engine, but they're way at the back of the vehicles. So at least they've got some protection from all this ammunition in front of them. Yes, and of course, the crew. But there you go. That's where everyone is on the XM551 Sheridan. So congratulations to the Bassman from Hell from getting another ace tanker in his Sheridan. It's a really good result, a lot of medals, and of course, again, it's more proof that the replay system is working, because of course he loaded this one up today, and I've run it through just to make sure, yes, we are able to process these replays from the results that are now going up onto our sites. Apparently, What Replays is still not working, so if you are still using What Replays, I think we're going to have to make sure that you keep copies of the end of battle results for the personal score, the team score, and the detailed report. And then obviously I can put something together when I do the replay. But it appears that What Replays or Salty Jedi's record site is working. So please do use that if you can. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.